Hello, what up, YouTubers? No, you haven't seen me around in a while. Just some personal stuff happening around in the background, but with the introduction of Set 2 by the end of this coming Friday, which is going to be the 28th, we're getting Illusionless Strife. So I thought it'd be a good idea if I went over nation by nation, card by card. The way we're gonna do this is I'm gonna try and make it so that if you're just listening to it, like you're listening to it while you're at work or driving, you don't really have to see what's going on the screen. To know what these cards do, give you and me, because I haven't been really keeping up with the game much because of some personal issues, what these new cards do and how they would impact Divine Z metagame. So yeah, let's go over into Dragon Empire now. This is Stealth Dragon Raiden Kunai. I know this is just a reprinted box topper PR for Shoujo Doji. And yeah, just something needed for Shoujo players if they haven't really picked this up. I know this guy got really expensive at one point, but yeah, let's get on to the actual main set. First is the grade 3 Dragon Drag Connector Guy Andra. This is a new deck. It has auto Vanguard at the beginning of your main phase. Cost: rest this unit, choose up to 2 grade 2 or less cards of Gairi in its name and up to 1 grade 2 or less card of Andra in its name, each from your soul, call them to rear guard, and this unit gets auto Vanguard once per turn. At the end of the value, your rear guard of Andra in its name attacked. Cost: put that unit that attacked and a rear guard of Gairi in its name into soul, stand this unit, and all your front rows get plus 10 until the end of turn. Now, the grade 2, I did read up on this set a little bit beforehand, because I was having a little bit of technical difficulties with OBS, but yeah, the grade 2 and the grade 1 are ride line pieces that synergize with each other to make it so that you're able to multi-attack from the back row. I'm not sure if you're going to need to play multiple copies of them, or if you just need one of each from the ride line and then you're good to go, basically. But yeah, this is the new grade 3 that comes out in the set. Not sure how well it's going to impact the meta, because it is kind of gimmicky. But yeah, let's go over into the rest of the cards here. We have a grade 2 10k triple rare Drag Ritter Diagram. This is the grade 2 for Eugene and Gandiva. It has auto when placed on rear guard. If you have a grade 3 Great Vanguard with Eugene or Gandiva. Costs: Soul Blast 1 and Energy Blast 3. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it. If you did not retire a card, draw a card, and this unit gets auto rear guard once per turn. At the end of the battle, your Vanguard attacked. Choose one of your front rows and stand it until the end of turn. And then it has a continuous rear guard. If you play it in normal order this turn, it gets boost. So it's a grade 2 that gets boost. It's very good for each perspective deck. I'm not sure if they're going to see any play or have any type of impact on the current metagame of what's going on in Divine Z meta. I know for sure Shiranui is still a very big threat because it's been untouched on the English side of the meta. But yeah, it's just very solid support for both those strategies. Then we have grade 1 8k Battle Monk of Raging Flames Ryusei. This is a support card for Varga. It has auto. When it's placed on rear guard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard of Varga in its name, your opponent cannot intercept until the end of turn. And then it has auto rear guard. When any player's unit is retired from your front row rear guard in the same column as this unit during your turn, if you have a grade 3 grade Vanguard Varga, cost, retire this, and draw a card. So it's just something that the Varga deck was kind of missing because of the way that the deck wants you to set up its attack patterns. It was very easy if your opponent did have interceptors in the front row to just intercept them off for those early attacks before your grade 3 Varga swing. Now it's not possible, so it just patches a hole in that deck strategy to where it was kind of not really lackluster, but it was kind of like a workaround with what Varga's trying to do. So this card just basically shuts it down and tells your opponent, no, those front row rear guards are getting retired no matter what. You can't work around it. Very solid card for the Varga deck, and it also cycles itself like most of the Varga cards do. Then we have, this is a support card for the Gairi Andra deck. It's a grade 3 double rare Artillery Bullet of Duststorm Zaxxas. Auto front row rear guard at the beginning of your battle phase, cost Counterblast 1. Choose one of your units with Gairi or Andra in its card name. It gets 5k into a turn. If you chose a unit, draw a card. And then it has auto rear guard. When your unit with Gairi or Andra in its card name attacks, if you have if your opponent's Vanguard is greater or greater, it gets 5k into a turn. It's just the draw power of the deck itself. I didn't really see any other cards that draw for the Gairi Andra deck, so definitely a staple for what the deck is trying to do. Moving on, we have a grade 2 double rare, Stealth Dragon Emo. It has auto when it's placed on rear guard, cost Energy Blast 3. Choose the same number of your opponent's rear guards as the number of set orders in your opponent's order zone. Retire them, and then it has auto rear guard when it attacks. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, your opponent has no rear guards, it gets 10k at the end of that battle. It's just a hate bearer card, and I don't think hate bearer cards are particularly good in D standard unless whatever it's trying to hate upon is currently like the best like tier 0 or the most played tier 1 deck right now, and there's really no set order strategy besides Ava, which works around retire, that's trying to do that right now, in my personal opinion. So I don't see that this card's going to see any play. Maybe in the stealth decks, maybe, but I'm honestly not quite sure. Moving on, we have a grade 1 8k double rare, Dancing Princess of Elegant Flames, Justina. It has auto when this is placed on rearguard from hand. If you do not play an order this turn, cost discard a card, search your deck for up to one card without Regalis piece, or one order card without Regalis piece, discard it, and it gets continuous. This can be played from drop zone, and when it would be put into drop after being played, put it on the bottom of the deck instead until end of turn. So I do know that there is some order support cards in this set, so this is just added consistency to certain deck archetypes that do rely on normal orders, like Murakami, for example. The new quintessential quintuplets deck, I'm not sure if it would play this or not. I know it's there's one for each nation, but most definitely, I think this card would see play in certain decks that do synergize around order cards. Piercing Equipped Dragon Argnus. This is a grade 1 8k prayer dragon. Auto, when this is placed on rearguard during your turn or discard from hand during your turn, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard of Nirvana in its card name, cost Energy Blast 3, choose a card with the crossover just ability from your drop, put it into your hand, and it has auto when it becomes an original dress, cost Soul Blast 1 and Countercharge 1. So this is just very good for the crossover dress strategy. It wants to basically, the strategy itself eats up a lot of counterblasts. I believe your main restand play, which you restand all your rear guards, requires like 2 to 3 CB with your Vanguard ability and your grade 3 crossover dress ability. So the countercharge is needed in this case, and it just lets you buy back your crossover dress units from drop zone very easily. So yeah, it's just a very good card for the crossover dress deck. I don't see it doing anything to the current metagame besides rogue tier play, just because of considering how the format is currently warped around Shiranui. In my personal opinion, of course. And then we're moving on to the second new deck for Dragon Empire. This is a grade 3 Rewrite the Star Virgilla. It has Act Vanguard once per turn, costs Energy Blast 3, choose your opponent's rear guards, bind it, and choose one grade 2 unit card from your drop, call it to rear guard. And then it has Auto Vanguard. When this unit attacks, costs Counterblast 1, choose your grade 2 rear guards and stand it. So it has basically permanent spot removal for most decks. A lot of decks don't mess with their bind zone, especially if it's bound face down. They actually just can't touch it. So for most decks, this is permanent spot removal, and it lets you reborn a grade 2 card from your a grade 2 unit card from your drop zone. So this is just very, and it has built-in multi-attack. So this is very interesting. I'm not sure with generic support if this deck would see much play, but I do think what it's trying to do is, like I said, it's very different. Moving on, we have a grade 2 rare Stealth Fiend Beedrill Crow. It has auto when it's placed on, when this unit is retired from rearguard by the ability of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard Varga in its name. Choose your opponent's rearguards and retire it. I don't think this will see much play in Varga, just because Varga has much better cards that are naturally 1-for-1s plus do something else. So I don't see this card particularly seeing any play. Next grade 2 is Melt Knuckled Golem. This is a support card for the Gyri Andra deck. It has auto when it's placed on rear guard. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard of Gyri in its name, cost Energy Blast 3, draw a card. And then it has auto rear guard when your unit of Gyri or Andra in its name attacks. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, it gets 5k power until the end of turn. So it's a 15k attacker if your opponent's grade 3 or greater, like forever. And then it has the on-place auto. If you're if you have a grade 3 or greater Gyri, you get to draw cards. So this is more draw power for the Gyri Andra deck. So it has, you can at least get one extra attack, if not more, because you're going to be attacking from the back row with the Gyri Andra deck. But and that's interesting. It already naturally has card draw. It already naturally has multi-attack. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough for what currently is really good in the Divine Z Vanguard metagame, but it's certainly a good start for the first wave of this deck support. Next is a grade 1 8k Flarebow Dragon. It has auto when it's placed on rear guard during your main phase. If you have a grade 3 greater Vanguard of Gandiva in its name, counterblast 1, choose your opponent's rear guards, retire it, and if you didn't retire a card, look at the top 3 of your deck, choose one grade 3 or less unit card from among them, call it to rear guard, and discard the rest. This is very interesting for the Gandiva deck. I really do hate that this ability is a counterblast. I wish it was a soul blast, because Gandiva has a lot of soul to give currently, since that one grade 3 is Strajinga is still restricted to 1. Free my homie Strajinga. He did nothing wrong. They still haven't unrestricted him, bro. Unless I'm mistaken, but as far as I'm aware, they unrestricted the Wallista support cards, but they haven't unrestricted the Strajinga, bro. Free my nigga Strajinga, bro. But yeah, I don't particularly think this will see play just because of that counterblast cost. Gandiva's naturally still a very counterblast heavy deck. So yeah, we're going on to the next card. It's a grade 2 Impale Carriage Dragon. It has auto rearguard and battle attacked. Cost, bind this unit face down. Choose where your units gets 5k in a turn. I'm guessing this is for the Gandiva deck. I don't see this being played. I feel like there's just better cards that you could potentially play in that deck. So yeah, moving on. Next card we have is the Unison Dragon Andra. This is a grade 2 of the ride line. It has continuous Vanguard. If your soul has a Drag Ritter or Flameblade Gyri, when you would ride a Drag Connector Andra from your ride deck, you can ride without discarding, and then continuous rearguard during your turn. If you have a unit with Gyri in its name, it gets 5k. So it's a 15k attacker by itself. Like I said, I'm not sure if you can get away with running just one of each, or if you actually do need to play max copies of both. But for what I'm reading currently, the deck doesn't seem like dead on arrival. It seems like it can at least play to its game/strategy. Next, we got the grade 2 of the Virgilla archetype, Shooting Star Virgilla. It has Act Vanguard once per turn. If you have 4 or more rear guards, cost, reveal a card of Virgilla in its card name from your ride deck, and it gets +1 critical until the end of turn. And it has auto when it's rode upon. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Choose one grade 2 card from among them, because it does have a grade 2 order card. So choose one grade 2 card from among them, reveal it, put into your hand, and shuffle your deck. And if it was rode upon by a grade 3 or greater card of Virgilla in its name, look at your deck instead of top 7. So this is basically a guaranteed search if you are in the Virgilla archetype, or if you're playing, if your ride line sucks, like whatever Dragon Empire deck you're playing, if your grade 2 of the ride line sucks, this is just a free top 7 search for any grade 2 card in your deck. So I think this is a very interesting card. I don't know if it'll see play outside of the Virgilla archetype, but it's a very interesting card, to say the least. Next, we have Drag Ritter of Flames Gyri. This is the grade 1 of the ride line. It's continuous Vanguard. If your soul has a Child Dragon Andra, that's a grade 0. When you would ride Unison Dragon Andra from your ride deck, you could ride without discarding. So basically, you could ride for free off of the grade 1, and then you could ride for free off of the grade 2. And then it has auto rearguard at the beginning of your battle phase. If a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Gyre in its name, cost, rest this unit, choose one of your rearguards with Andra in its name, and that unit can attack from the back row and gets plus 10. So notably, your opponent does not have to be grade 3 for you to potentially get this multi-attack from the back row to resolve. Your Andra is going to be 25 by itself with no buffs or power-ups. You want your front row to be the golem, or you want your front row to be the grade 3 the grade 3 that also lets you draw a card. So it's very interesting. Again, I don't know if you want to play multiple of these, so you can have multiple Andras swing from the back row, but it's a very interesting ability. Next, we have Battle Monk of Thunderclaps Zaishin. This is a grade 1 8k. This is Triumph Dragon support. This is auto rearguard. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard of Triumph Dragon in its card name, cost, retire this unit. Put a grade 3 or greater card of Triumph Dragon in its name from soul or drop on the bottom of the deck. Choose one of your opponent's rearguards, retire it, and if you do not retire a card, draw a card. So, I know all the main trial deck grade 3 bosses are getting these just because of the way their ability works. Eventually you're going to run out of Persona Ride targets, so this just basically sets you up for next turn. It sucks that it's not an act skill, so you could get this off immediately, but I do kind of understand why with the way its ability is set up. But, yeah, I'm not sure how often you'll resolve the draw so that this will just become a cycle and you're not net losing a card here, because, from what I've seen of Triumph Dragon, it really doesn't retire that much, but it's interesting. Next we have the grade 1 Virgilla, Rising Star Virgilla. It has continuous Vanguard during your turn. This unit's power gets plus 2k for each rear guard, and it has continuous Vanguard. When you ride from the ride deck, you can ride with Soul Blast 1 instead of choosing a card from your hand and discarding it. So notably, this isn't like archetype specific. Again, you could use the grade 1 or 0 of the Virgilla archetype as you wish in any deck. Again, I'm not sure how relevant that will be, but it is something to note. But pretty solid, lets you ride for free, nothing much to say here. Next we have Recreate Griffin. This is a grade 1 8k. This is for the Gyre Andra deck. It has auto rearguard when it attacks or boosts. If you have a Vanguard with Andra in its name, it gets 2k power to in that battle. And then cost counterblast 1, choose your opponent's grade 2 or less back row rearguards and retire it. I'm not sure if you'll have counterblast to spare to be able to play Recreate Griffin. I just feel like you would rather use your counterblast to draw off of the grade 3. So I'm not sure if you'll actually play Recreate Griffin in the Gyre Andra deck or not. Then we have the grade 0 Virgilla card. I don't think this is very necessary to play, but you can play it if you're playing the Virgilla deck. And then Child Dragon Andra. You actually do need to play this grade 0 for the Gyre Andra deck because it does call for it by name. And then we have our first normal order. It's a grade 3 Drag Resonance. I believe this was, I know a lot of talk was being talked about for this for Overlord deck, for the Overlord deck and for Overlord players. It has the effect of choose one of your Vanguards and it gets auto Vanguard once per turn. When this unit stands, all your front row get 10k until the end of turn. Notably, it's a hard once per turn, so you can't stack this with Varga. But again, I believe this was basically meant for, it was basically meant for, Overlord. Sorry about that, brain farted there for a second. But yeah, it was meant for the Overlord deck. I'm not sure how good the Overlord deck would be. Just currently, there's too many decks, in my opinion, right now that do, like, restand the Vanguard plus do something else, so I'm not sure if this card will be enough for Overlord to keep up. Also, keeping in mind that we do have that grade 1 that like lets you foolish shit to the drop and play this from the drop. So that is something also to keep in mind. The next normal order we have is Stardust Blade. This is for the Virgilla archetype. It's a grade 2 normal order. Play this with cost counterblast 1. If you have Vanguard Virgilla in its name, look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose one unit card of grade less than or equal to your Vanguard from among them. Call it to rearguard. Shuffle your deck, choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets continuous Vanguard. When your rear guard is retired by your opponent's card ability, search your deck for one normal unit, call it to rear guard, shuffle your deck, and continuous Vanguard. This unit gets 3k for each normal unit on your rear guard and in your drop. So this is a very interesting defensive mechanic. It's interesting because it's the normal order instead of being a blitz order, so it's kind of like offense and defense wrapped into one, because it lets you search for whatever. It lets you top 5 search, and it lets you basically like give protection to your rear guards if you're against a retire strategy. I don't know how easy it is to play around this because it's when one of your rear guards are retired by your opponent's card ability. There's not that many decks that retire right now, unfortunately. This really only works against Varga, but I'm guessing that the deck wants to play this anyways. So yeah, it's for the Virgilid strategy, not much to say. And then we're going over into the quintessential quintuplet cards. I do know that we're getting these for set 2 for English because we haven't really got these yet. Not sure how much of an impact they'll make on the metagame. I'm of the opinion, because we're getting these so late, that they're just going to naturally be very cheap to like buy into, just like the Bang Dream cards of set 1. So it's just going to be like, it's going to be a cheap, really solid deck in my opinion. I'm not sure if it'll be one of the better decks, but it's going to be a very cheap, solid deck that you can basically buy into for like little to no cost. But getting into it, the Grade 3 Quintessential Quintuplets Ikia Nanako. Sorry if I butchered the name, guys. It has auto when it's placed on Vanguard. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Choose up to 2 quintuplets from among them. Reveal them. Choose a card from among the revealed cards, put into your hand, and then put the rest into your memory. Shuffle your deck. And then it has Continuous Vanguard. If your memory has 6 or more quintuplets with different names, when your opponent would call cards from hand to guard, they must call 2 or more at the same time. That's for the that's a stacking ability for the entire turn, so that's really good. And then it has Auto Vanguard. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, Counterblast 1. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it. Choose one of your quintuplet rear guards. Increase the power of that unit and this unit by the power of the unit retired by this ability. And if you didn't retire a card, the increase is 10k. So really solid. It doesn't rely on your opponent having a rear guard. It's just if they do happen to have a rear guard, you can easy spot removal kill it. So yeah, getting on to the Grade 2. This is a Grade 2 rear guard. Mischievous Infatuation Ikia Nanako. It has auto when this unit is placed on rear guard. If your Vanguard is Quintessential Quintuplets Ikia Nanako, cost counterblast 1, put a quintuplets from the drop in the body of your deck. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. And then if your memory has 5 or more quintuplets, different card names, draw a card. Really solid draw power for the deck. Very easy for you to recycle your quintuplets. So yeah, not much to say here. We have the Grade 2 of the Ride Line, Star Actress returning from America, Ikishia Nanako. It has auto when this unit is placed on. When this unit is placed by riding from a Grade 1 quintuplet, look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 quintuplet from among them. Put it into your memory and shuffle your deck. And it has Kant rear guard during your turn. If your opponent's rear guard was retired this turn, it gets 5k power, and then if your memory has 5 more quintuplets with different names, it gets 10k power instead. So potentially a 15k or 20k attacker on rear guard circle. And then we have the Grade 1 of the Ride Line, Night After School Festival Ikisha Nanako. When this is placed from riding the quintessential quintuplets, you get a quintuplets memory crest, and then it has Continuous Guard. If your memory has 3 or more quintuplets with different card names, this gets shield plus 5. I'm not sure how easy or like how fast you can get the quintuplets into your memory gauge, but very solid support in my opinion. Again, it all depends on the speed of how fast you can get those different names. And then we have a Grade 1 support card, Stealth Mode Actress Ikisha Nanako. Auto, when this is placed on rear guard during your main phase, if your quintuplets Vanguard, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose 1 quintuplets from among them, put it into memory, shuffle your deck. And then continuous rear guard, if your memory has 3 or more quintuplets with different names, this gets power plus 2k, active on both players' turns. So solid 10k attacker or booster, and just feeds into your getting your different names. So you have 1, 2, 3 ways to get quintuplets with different names. So I'm guessing by turn 3, you should have 3 different names. I'm not sure if the crust itself lets you get extra quintuplets, but it doesn't seem like it's uber fast. Going on to the grade 3 normal order, Memories from School Festival for Ikishionanako. This is a grade 3 normal order. It has play this if your Vanguard is the quintessential quintuplets. Ikishinhanako, man, these names are killing me, dude. Choose up to 2 quintuples of same card name from your drop, put one on bottom of the deck, and then put the rest into memory. If you chose one or more cards, perform all the following according to the number of quintuplets of different card names in your memory. 3 or more, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it. If you do not retire, draw a card. 5 or more, countercharge 1, and then 7 or more different names. Choose one of your vanguards and you get continuous vanguard. During the battle that's seen and attacked, if your opponent cannot call sentinels from hand to guard and cannot play blitz orders from hand to guard. So this is just a very powerful effect that if you do have that 7 or more unlocked, this is what this deck needs to be able to basically, this is this deck's win condition. The fact that it Sentinel restricts and Blitz Order restricts. Because from what I'm seeing from these support cards, this deck currently does not have access to multi-attack. So you're just basically trying to spot removal your opponent's rear guards, draw a couple cards, and buff your board based off of your opponent's board. But it does not have access to multi-attack currently. Like again, really cheap. I actually think that this is the worst out of all the quintuplets, but we'll see in the next video, which we're going to be going over Dark States in the next one, so go ahead and stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, guys, and we will be having that 1K Q&A very soon. We're going to have it at the start of next week. It's just going to take a little bit more time for me personally, just because I've been away for so long to get that situated. It's going to take a little bit more time than, like, per se a video like this. Anyways, guys, y'all have a great night. Later.